Good morning friends, you are most welcome to Think IS channel. Today we are going to discuss Practicing Anthropology by MAAN IGNOU, and our topic is participation in the civil society and the states. Let us begin the topic. Working in civil society and the state. Individual knowledge and expertise are undeniably important aspect of citizen engagement, and the relationship between education and partnership is important evidence in this regard. Lake and Huckfeld, 1998. Civil society in service industry is a major job creator worldwide. Salman et al. 1999. In countries such as Germany, the growth rate of the sector with respect to employment has by far surpassed those of the public and the for-profit sector in the last decades. Priller et al. 1999. The Blair government in the United Kingdom worked out a strategy titled Compact for the purpose of mainstreaming of this sector into public policy. In this regard, the national policy on the voluntary sector formulated by the Government of India is really a path-breaking move by the government to recognize the importance, indispensability, and penetration of the voluntary organizations. India's voluntary organization policy interviews variety of civil society role as a partner in the development process. The voluntary organization policy of India endeavors to provide conducive environment for growth and development of the voluntary sector in India. These consist of the supportive legal framework, legislations, rules regulating voluntary organizations, state relations, tax legislations, and other necessary legislations and requirements affecting voluntary organizations and their operations. They cover aspects concerning voluntary organizations establishment, governance, regulation, partnership, access to funds, sustainability, capacity enhancement, and accountability. Activity role clarity. First step, identify roles of anthropologists in the three sectors. Second, the then identify overlapping roles between government and business, similarly between business and civil society and between civil society and the government. Step 3. Identify what are the overlapping roles which are common to all the three sectors. Here are three circles: government, business and civil society. The answer to this activity will give you an understanding of core roles and responsibilities of anthropologists and between the specific sector in a given context. Most developing countries have struggled with the issues involved in creating such an enabling legal environment, and it goes to the credit of the aspect. According to Sen 1999, many developing countries and countries in transition have established or are in the process of establishing legal mechanisms to allow contracting of NGOs for the provisions of services the state can no longer afford to provide, but there needs to be a word of caution before jumping onto the bandwagon. According to a study undertaken by Robinson and White 1997, there are a number of common deficiencies with the service provided by the sector. These include limited coverage, variable quality, amateurish approach, high staff turnover, lack of effective management system, poor cost effectiveness, lack of coordination, and poor sustainability due to dependence of external assistance. Considering these lacunae pointed out in the study, it would be imprudent to building capacities in them and weeding out other deficiencies before handing over the state's responsibility to voluntary organizations. The term civil has emerged from the term civility. According to Neera Chandhok, the concept of civil society highlighted one basic precondition of democracy: state power has to be monitored, engaged with, and rendered accountable through intentional and engaged citizen action. 2007. Role of civil society in the state is directly linked with or linked to democratization of the state. with the rapid globalization, market and private sector are influencing the role of civic engagement. According to Jimmer and Stacker 2004, non-profit civil society organizations are participating in the in at least three societal spheres simultaneously as provider of services for their members or the general public, as providers of services for their members and or the general public, as part of the market economy in advanced societies, and as lobbyist or lobbyist advocacy for the interest of their members, the common weal, or on a specific cause. Next heading is how to start up civil society organizations. As an anthropologist or an expert with anthropological knowledge, one can establish a business firm with a social cause commonly termed as social entrepreneur and set up a civil society organization SCO commonly termed as non-governmental organization NGO or non-profit organization NPO or trust. To anthropologists who want to start up their organization, they need to possess three important abilities: knowledge of establishing the organization, skills pursuing the mission, and the leadership of the managing the organization. In Indian context, there are three possible options that exist for registration. An association of like-minded people can register for legal identify for carrying out the social objectives under the following Indian Acts. First, as a charitable trust. Second, as a society under the Society Registration Act 1860. And third, as a licensed company under Section 25 of the Companies Act 1956. As a charitable trust, in the trust a property or activity is dedicated to public utility. Often Hindu, Sikhs and other community members created charitable or religious endowments, while Muslims created waqfs. Section 3 of the Indian Trust Act defines trust as an obligation annexed to the ownership of property and arising out a confidence reposed in and accepted by the owner and accepted by him for the benefit of another or of another and the owner. Trust can only be created by a person competent to contract or on behalf of a minor. In case of a trust claiming exemption under Section 11 of the Income Tax Act, it is essential that the trust is duly registered. As a society under the Society Registration Act 1860 NGO, a non-government organization NGO or voluntary organization VO can be formed or registered under the Society Registration Act 1860 by minimum 7 or more persons for a common purpose. There are two documents required: a covering letter, an affidavit of the president or secretary of the society on a non-judicial stamp paper duly attested by the notary or first-class magistrate, a proof of address, house tax or rent receipt in case of rented premise, or a duly signed memorandum of association and rules and regulation of the organization. The memorandum of association typically includes the name. The name of NGO is proposed by the members, and depending upon the availability of that name, a society is registered on the proposed name. It has to have a registered office address, the object or objectives of the society, the name, occupation and contact address of the members, minimum 7 members, the names, occupation and address of the governing body. License under Section 25 of the Companies Act. Under Section 25 of the Companies Act 1956, an association can be formed for the purpose of promoting commerce, art, science, religion, charity, or for any other public action. Under this Act, the association cannot be termed as limited or private limited. Unlike an NGO, its profits or other income can be used for promoting its object. An NGO cannot have any profit as per the current legal system. What is common between an NGO and the Companies Act is that it prohibits payment of any dividend to its members. As an anthropologist, one can also work in the bilateral agencies such as DFID of British government, USAID of the USA, and similarly many countries have their development departments in Delhi. There are several foundations such as Ford Foundation and large number of foreign funded sectoral programs where anthropologists are required as an expert. Thank you very much.